Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Derek Stone, who is the author of Why Should I Forgive? Derek, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, you're welcome. I'm looking forward to learning from you. I know that it's always neat when people have a vision and a passion for a certain topic because of lessons they've learned, and then it comes out in a book. So I'm excited to learn about that. Give us a little bit of background on yourself and then what led you to write this book.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a general contractor here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a niche business in the construction world called Punchwork. So if you ever buy a house and you walk the house with a realtor and they say, okay, what do you want fixed? They write that all on a list. Well, we specialize in that for builders. And so we do that. I've been married for 17 years. I have two boys. And I just got through writing this book and excited about it being out. So, yeah, the book's about forgiveness and my journey, how I want to walk people through. Because most people know that they should forgive people, but they don't know how. And that's what we want to walk people through.
Yeah, and I know it goes even a whole lot more past that, and I think that a lot of times people think, like the umbrella of personal development or how can I improve my, personal or professional life. I know that there's those core strategies, so let's jump right into what would you say are some of the big takeaways and the major points that you cover in the book, starting with forgiveness.
Yeah, so we have 5 points that we really walk through people is wanting and needing a better life, which is basically just identifying the vision for your life that you want, because you don't know, you're just kind of walking around aimlessly. If you don't have a vision or a goal, you're lost. And so we try to help you define that. And then 2 is going with your gut. Sometimes when you go through forgiveness, people are telling you, man, why are you forgiving that dude? They did this, and this to you, and so it's sometimes going with your gut. And if you feel a nudge to forgive that person, you need to forgive that person. And then sometimes you need to root out negative people in your life, and that's what we talk about, going with your gut. And then the third thing is open heart surgery, where we go through how to make a decision, how to take responsibility for your own life, deal with the self-critic, the cost of bitterness in the waiting room when you're just really waiting for something and it's just not happening yet. And then the fourth thing is surrendering the outcome, which is so many times we fight battles that aren't ours. And a lot of times just giving that over to a higher power. And then the fifth step is gratitude. Gratitude is just happiness, and gratitude are different sides of the same sort of joy. And if you're a bitter, angry, resentful person, you're just not going to be happy and grateful. So, and then the last thing we do in chapter 10, we go through what forgiveness looks like in a marriage. So that's basically about, roundabout way what it is.
And I would and of course we can talk for probably 4.5 days on what you just laid out. So we'll take the 60,000 foot view. I would suspect that you would say, in the world, since you are an entrepreneur and our audience here today is entrepreneurs, business coaches, corporate executives, people in the business world. Sure. Let's talk a little bit about where this forgiveness would overlap into. It's not compartmentalized. You don't just go, oh, well, that's just on Saturday mornings, then I let this fester and it doesn't affect anything else in my life. How does that carry over into your business?
Well, one of the things is that when my business did over $1 million in revenue, I was so grateful. And what happened was, people say never look back, but I wanted to figure out what it was that triggered my journey to success. And so I kept looking back, and what it was is the one choice that I had made to forgive my dad. And so I had blamed him for a bunch of stuff that happened to me as a child, which really, it is what it is. We've dealt with it now, and he's come back and asked me to forgive him, and it's been really cool. So, but the thing is that, I wanted to see what it was that really triggered my journey, and that's what plays into my entrepreneurial role. Is that, say for instance, there's situations where I've had somebody not really take, but they I would say that I invested $12,000 and then they quit. I I was super, because they weren't doing the marketing I'd asked him to do. I told him I was going to fly out to where he was to do the marketing for him. The day before I booked my ticket, he called and said that he was resigning. And I was angry, man. It really took everything that I had, and my blood pressure was through the roof. I mean, just angry. And I knew that I couldn't go to bed like that. And so I just started flexing that muscle, just saying, look, I'm going to forgive this dude. I'm going to forgive this dude. Not trying to really understand it, seeing it from his perspective too. The decision that he made was based on his family. So, and I totally get that. So a lot of times we need to step back when we look at forgiveness and look at other people's perspectives of what's going on in their situation. A lot of the times they're not doing it maliciously. It's just they're trying to figure out what's best for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we all as entrepreneurs get caught up in the moment of the day, and I've got to make this decision and put out this fire and run, and then you don't have that time to kind of, I know that a lot of people say, take that 5 seconds and kind of, okay, and now make your decision or make that response, and we don't take that time. So I think a lot of that comes into, maybe adding fuel to the fire.
Sure, it does. Because the longer you don't deal with it, the longer it's going to fester, and then what's going to happen is you're going to explode on the people that you love the most. That's your kids. That's your wife. That's your parents. I mean, that's the reality of it.
In business thinking, I was kind of wondering about the question, the question we're dwelling on here, and the phrase opportunity cost comes to mind. Where if you are spending your time in this area, you cannot be spending it in another area. It's the opportunity cost. Well, I think that there seems to be a correlation between this concept in if you're dwelling on the past, you can't really dwell on or free yourself to focus on the future to grow your business or grow your relationships with vendors or strategic alliances. So do you find that when you were talking to people or writing this book that you were finding that people were when they move past these steps that it does free them up to even expand things in the business they never thought of?
Absolutely. And one of the main key points, basically what you're saying, that I feel like is the answer to that is like most people play the victim mentality. Woe is me, right? That's that whole like, gosh, man, this happened to me. I'm gonna make everybody feel it. Well, one of the big things that I really walk through in this book is taking responsibility for your own life. And that's the real part, because if you play the victim, you're giving those people too much power. When you're dwelling on the past, you're giving those past, and your past is still your past, but it's not your past if it's still affecting the present. If it is still affecting your present, then it will affect your future.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an aspect that a lot of people don't think about. And I'm sure you touch on this in your book, but I know that I've heard this somewhere in the past. But it's like, okay, when we're talking about forgiveness, you've got to make the first step. That's obvious, because a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to do anything until this person, and they might not even think anything of whatever the issue was. But you have to start with forgiving yourself, because there might be a business decision you made that you just are beating yourself up over. Move on, forgive yourself, and then that kind of opens yourself up to kind of see things clearly to move forward in the future.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. Sometimes we beat ourselves up, and we do have to forgive ourselves. Like you made a bonehead decision. Let's just jump in there and make the best of it and move forward. We don't always get the opportunity to make the right decision, but we do have the opportunity to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So when you are writing this book and you have someone that maybe is reading it, what are some of the outcomes that you're hoping that they're going to take away in their personal and professional lives?
Well, a lot of the times when you hold yourself captive, let's say in bitterness, and you're not exercising this forgiveness muscle, what a lot of the times it does is it locks yourself in your own prison. And you're kind of tormented by that, because you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about how this person hurt you, you're even thinking about how you might want to get back at this person or how you could hurt that person, and you're locking yourself in your own torment. The problem is that you're carrying a burden around. When you're not exercising the forgiveness muscle and you hold your forgiveness like it's some gift to be bestowed upon people, they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. Why should I forgive them? They don't deserve that. Well, the problem is true forgiveness happens then, and you get the best benefit out of it when you give it freely. And so that's just basically a lot of the outcomes that I want to see people is is really just set free from their torment of the prison cell that they kind of caused themselves. They don't realize they caused it, but a lot of the times the answer to a lot of the questions of why can't I make a good decision or I can't do anything right or those things is like, a lot of the times you've got bitterness somewhere in your life that you're not dealing with and you're playing the victim mentality. And I just want to help people unlock that door to that prison cell that they're in.
Yeah. And I know you talk about retooling your life to bring about change. What does that look like?
Well, for me, so I'm a Chick-fil-A guy. I love Chick-fil-A, and I worked for Chick-fil-A for 7 years. And when I left Chick-fil-A, I was a certified grand opening trainer. And I learned the value of a duplicatable system because they'd fly me all over the country and I'd open their stores. Well, what was cool to me was that in 4 days or so, I could teach people that had no idea how to cook Chick-fil-A products, and they were running it in 4 days. All I was doing was stepping back, and I'd jump in in a pinch, And so that's where I learned the value of the duplicatable system. Well, I actually started my business. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but I started my business coming off of unemployment. And coming off of unemployment, it's one of those things where you're just kind of like, man, got to do what you got to do. And so I didn't know what I was doing when I got in the construction industry. I went to work for a general contractor, and he's like, I was pretty handy with my hands, and he said, well, do you know how to do this? And I was like, no. And he goes, let me show you. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, then the next thing, he's like, do you know how to do this? No. And let me show you. Well, eventually another guy found out about it, and he said, hey, will you go punch these houses for me? And gave me more money. So I was like, sweet. So I started going to do that. And the thing is that when I didn't know how to do something and I didn't have anybody around me to ask, I would just jump on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'd pop on YouTube, and then somebody would have a video of something that I was going through, and I'd watch the video real quick, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I got it. I'm a basically a visual learner, and it's never before has it been so easy to retool yourself in any field, I feel, than it is today. I have a feeling it's going to get easier because more people are jumping on that bandwagon, but I definitely think that I'm sitting here doing six figures in 7, and the thing is that there's the reason for it is because I clicked a button on a phone.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really that making your mind up, having a decided heart, and then moving forward. And that, for me, that's where I am today, because I picked up the phone when I didn't know what I was doing, and I found out real quick, watched somebody on a video. And that's what my YouTube channel does. I just want to give back to that community. So I do a lot of how-to videos as well in the construction area.
Yeah, but here's something curious about what you said, and I know you know this, but I don't want to pass over it. I just clicked a button. Well,
sure.
Yes, that was the action that you took, but you had to have been, it's kind of like the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. The teacher is always there. Well, for people that hear that and go, oh, well, you just clicked the button. Well, yeah, all of that content was there. All that learning was out there. You just hadn't clicked the button yet. You weren't ready to click the button yet mentally, or your goals or your aspirations or your drive, really. So here is someone listening to this or understanding this concept going, well, it's not as easy as clicking the button. It's all of that pre-work behind it. It's like the concept of an overnight success. Yeah, it was this overnight success, but it took me 20 years to get there of work and struggle and striving. So talk a little bit about that concept of, it's right there at our fingertips, and we've got a world of opportunity in front of us to change our life, improve our life, business, whatever that is. And it does many times only take clicking that button on a phone or a video or a computer, but there's a lot that goes in behind that.
Yeah, and the exact thought that I had when I decided to make the decision was, God, there's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
I had a 3-year-old kid and a wife, and things were just, I just felt like we're all screwed up, and it was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And when I got laid off from the job I was at, I said, no longer will I let somebody else control my destiny. I'm going to control my destiny. And that's what made the shift happen for me to click the button. So
yeah,
in a roundabout nutshell.
Yeah, that's huge. Hey, so let's wrap up with what's the best way that people can reach out, connect with you, learn more about what you teach, and also pick up a copy of your book.
Yeah, so you can go to derekstone.online, and that is spelled DEREKSTONE at .online. And you can get a copy of the book there and learn a little bit more about me and book events and that kind of thing. I know once this coronavirus stuff's over, I'm sure the events will start popping off again. So.
Yeah, there's that resiliency that we have to go through, and click that button sometimes is learning a new skill or being open to a new learning medium. So that's what's exciting about change and learning. So thank you so much for bringing these topics to us today. It was really great getting to know you, Derek.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.